Peace, Remnantsgathering, RG, Weirdo Gang Gang. This is Campson, one half of Remnantsgathering, and I'm back because we've been missing for a little while. We hadn't been able to do our live. We've been in the middle of the same spiritual warfare that I'm sure a lot of you are experiencing. So I wanted to make sure that I drop this video before the eclipse, okay? So stick around. We'll go get into this. And first of all, I want to thank everybody that's been giving donations. Thank you so much. That makes a huge difference, and it gives me the time to put this content together, or Ernest, which one of us happen to be gathering content. So thank y'all so much. I would shout you out. I kind of want to, but I don't want to make, seem like we're having favoritism going on over here. But yeah, you know who you are. And man, I thank you so much. And I believe with all of my heart that when people give donation with an intention set, that you're going to receive 36 to 100-fold. I believe that with all of my heart. And I can almost say I can guarantee that. And if you've given a donation, I can almost guarantee that you had a breakthrough or something happened very soon after. So this is just what the guides, been showing me and telling me. So thank you. Okay, you see this horse here? Let's get into it. So I was going to do the typical eclipse video and explaining what happens with the eclipse and maybe some rituals you could do, how it's going to impact you personally based on your natal chart and this, that, and other. My guys is like, no, scratch all of that. We want to show you something. So I'm like, oh, here we go. I'm finna go down in the rabbit hole. So let's get into this rabbit hole, shall we? Now, I want to say the last few weeks, we've been feeling like we were living in 2012 again. Why, we really didn't know. So this is the year that the Mayans prophesied about as being the end of the world as we know it. Yes, we are reliving that. This was a hunch that we've been getting and has been confirmed. So what you're looking at is the Denver mural connections to the Wolf Full Moon eclipse coming up on January 10th, 2020. Now, the horse. I'm going to get into the horseman of the apocalypse. I mentioned this in the video before, and we have been working on some information, and the video is so freaking long that it takes forever to upload. So I'm going to try to shorten it and redo that and get that up here. But I want to tell you why the Denver airport is significant, because my spirit guys, this is what they led me to look for. The artist who actually built the horse was killed by that horse as he was putting it together. Now, this is a 32-foot high fiberglass stallion. Okay, his name is Luis Jimenez. Now, his friends believe that this horse is cursed because it killed him. Okay, his injuries were so fatal that it killed him. And I got to thinking, like, what does the horse represent? And then I remembered, wait, we got the 4 horsemen of apocalypse light code like weeks ago, and we haven't fully released that information. So this is more like a galactic disclosure that we have been given to share with you all. And so the first thing that comes to mind regarding this horse is the pale horse of the apocalypse. Okay, and this is the 4th horse in the book of Revelations, because the timeline that I'm from, it was called the book of Revelations, because there's more than one Revelations in the book of Revelation. Anyway, we're on a different timeline, clearly. But this horse represents death. And it's just really crazy that the guy that created the horse died, right? So I went and just refreshing my memory about what the Bible has to say about the pale horse, and he sat on this horse. His name was Death, and hell followed him everywhere he go, and the power was given over to him to kill a 4th part of the earth. Now, jump back to the Denver mural. As we can see here, we see death, right? We see death at the sword. We see what looks like a lot of people, maybe who are immigrants. We see dead children, and we see this dove being murdered. And another one of the murals, we see all of these nationalities. Now, and you pay attention to this dove that you're going to keep noticing in here, because I'm going to connect all of this to you. But the people, the faces in these murals are actually people who died as a result of gang violence. And this is the information that I received as I was doing the research on this. Now, why is this significant? Well, this is significant because I don't know if you all remember, but the Pope, they would always release these doves, you know what I'm saying? And so this one particular year, they released these doves, and the doves were attacked. If I'm not mistaken, the dove was attacked by a raven and a seagull. And they said that that was a very bad omen. And I'm like, yeah, that's a bad omen for the Roman Catholic Church. That's a bad omen for the three monotheistic religions that were set up that entrapped a lot of us and did not allow the expression of our soul's essence that we are getting free from now as we're going through the spiritual awakening. Now, as I'm researching this, it's blowing my mind how all this is connecting, y'all. Like, I don't know. I'm pretty creative, but I'm not creative enough to string these things together because they appear to not have any connection with each other. So we are in Armageddon, but the Armageddon is happening inside of us. The war is happening inside of us, right? As our higher self and lower self battle to see who's going to rule, who's going to reign, who's going to create heaven on earth, right? Your best life. And so this is very much synchronistic with the end of the world that the Mayans prophesied about as the end of things as we knew it. Now, y'all know a lot of kids been going missing. It's been a lot of pedophilia rings and stuff getting exposed. And I didn't want to put this up here, but I noticed the little girl that was releasing the doves with the Pope. She had fever blisters everywhere. And y'all know about the Jewish ritual where they suck the baby's penis, and a lot of time the babies end up with herpes and stuff. Y'all know about, the pedophile rings and how a lot of people in Hollywood have herpes because of the rituals that they have to do and da. So that's the only reason that was in there. No shame brought to that dear soul. I really hope that those children were not being molested. But we know what has happened with many, many people in Roman Catholicism. Now, the guy who did all of the murals, guess what his lineage was? Mayan. Yes, he was Mayan. The artist was Mayan as well. And the little girl in one of the murals is holding a Mayan clay tablet. So this was a clue to go back to the galactic calendar, okay? And so that's what I did. But I began to notice all of these things in here, like what you see now. You see rainforests on fire, buildings on fire. You see animals becoming extinct. You see animals that it seems people are trying to save by putting them in these glass encasements to save and protect them. We're in warfare. It's not just humans, it's the animals as well. And this lines up with the rainforest. Y'all see how this all lining up? So this is like predictive programming. This is like magic, This is like high magic using predictive programming. You can see the slain leopard here as well. And so I got to thinking, I was like, wait a minute, what does the leopard represent? What is the symbology of the leopard? And so I'm going to get into that in just a second. But I want to tell you all that just looking at these pictures, and Quetzal, that makes me think about the Quetzalcoatl, which is like the Mayan form of Christ or Krishna returning. All of this came to my mind, and that's because we're going through a Christ consciousness or Krishna consciousness or Quetzalcoatl, if I'm saying it correctly. I know if I'm not, y'all will correct me. But we're going through that. We're experiencing awakening. We're integrating ourselves with our higher selves. And so this is why the warfare has to happen. So what used to be called Agenda 21 is called 2030 now, okay? And that agenda is an agenda of genocide to decrease the population. That didn't end. They're perfecting it as time goes on, okay? And I'm going to kind of go back and forth here, because it will take me hours to give you all this exactly how it came to me. And when we start doing things like that, I really prefer it to be in a lecture format, where you got notes and we got bullet points and you can just really sit and take all this information in. So I'm trying to do a condensed version to give you all an inner eye tour of what's happening spiritually and energetically on earth. Now, these children on here look terrified. These children also look to be indigenous, and it just seems like horror. And you see the clay tablet that I was mentioning to you that's in this mural. And so this just kept pointing me back to December 21st, 2012. And I'm like, no wonder we've been feeling like we're in 2012 again. And so it's really, really, really crazy how deja vu lets you know that there are changes in the simulation. And even as you all see this picture, you will probably see faces in the flowers because I did. And you all are very, very good at pointing things out. So if you see something, be sure to comment below, because oftentimes a lot of things are hidden in plain sight. And so, okay, so let's get to with the animals and everything. Remember when the rainforest was being burned down? Not only were the indigenous people horrified and displaced, but the animals were too. And so there is a level of karma attached to this. Whether people believe it or not, there is a cause and effect. There is causality. There is laws of correspondence, law of rhythm. There is the law, which is basically of the pendulum swinging back and forth. Like these are universal laws. These are hermetics. This is physics. This is the way energy works. And so, I even have to remind myself that none of us are above the laws of the universe, and so we know that this is opening up for really, really bad karma for these innocent, beautiful creatures to be killed. I find it interesting that the solar eclipse in 2012 led to a war, okay? And when I got the word, I had already been working on this days ago because my spirit guides had been giving me bits and pieces of this. But then when I got the word that Trump had bombed Iran, I was like, oh shit, like you gotta be kidding me. So in 2012, there was a lot of war tactics and training going on for war. And then in 2017, we can remember it happening. And so if you notice with certain eclipses, there's always this like, it seems like they're following some type of protocol that a war has to be started during this time. In this picture here, this is the tower. It has been destroyed. And this is Notre Dame. This is the destruction of Notre Dame in that picture, which is from the Denver mural. And it's reminded me of 2017, the Economist magazine. They had on there about Planet Trump and the tarot cards. And I was really shocked to see a lot of this because it was so taboo, right? And now it's a tarot card reader. Like literally, it seems like there's a new tarot card reader channel put up and it's on my timeline every single day, which is beautiful. It's great that a lot of us are using our gifts to help guide souls, but there's always going to be a few who just in it for the money. It is what it is. But this is significant because this is how sometimes ceremonial magic, predictive programming type magic done on the masses, they have to show us what it is they intend to bring as the outcome. And once it embeds itself into our subconscious mind, it empowers those who set the intention to carry out with success whatever the true motive is behind the magic being done. Okay. And so you can see the tower on here being destroyed. Again, this was what happened with Notre Dame. You can also see that there's a cross on here. So this is like death to Catholicism, or death to the Roman Empire. This is just showing you that the ones who have been on top for forever are not going to be there forever. They've been there a long time. So for a lot of people, yes, this new decade means that karma is ending before a lot of people. Specifically powers that be and people who have done a lot of horrible things to women and children and animals and just, making these decisions that are causing animals to go extinct, genocide, like it's about to really get real to where you aren't going to be able to hide from your deeds. Your deeds are going to come back requesting. It's a lot of checks been wrote that people asses really can't even afford. You know what I'm saying? And so yes, so the Economist magazine is actually a magazine that is using high magic on the masses, predictive programming to get the outcome that they want. Now back to the leopard. I remember the leopard in the Bible, and I was like, let me go back to that, and it reminded me of Daniel 7. And after this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which had opened the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. Okay, so the leopard, and we could go on and on and on. Hosea 13:7, therefore I will be unto them as a lion, as a leopard, by the way will I observe them. Okay, and it talks about the beast, and it talks more about the leopard having the feet of a bear and his mouth. And it talks about the dragon and the power and authority being given to them. So this shows that with this eclipse, we're going to see a lot of chess moves of power and authority shifting, okay, to different groups and collectives, governments, and countries of people. And that is already happening. And from what I understand with this particular full moon eclipse, and the way the planetary alignment is set up, this is set up for people who are in the know, for the rich to stay rich and the rich to stay poor. It does connect to the economy. And war is all about what? Money and power, right? And so this is why a lot of things that are happening. But it's back to the leopard. When you think about the leopard, the representation of the leopard obviously would be a country or a continent or governmental system or setup. You know what I'm saying? Some type of patriarchy setup. That's just what it is. And y'all already know that we've been talking about this on the channel, that the matriarchy, the divine feminine, is rising again. Things are shifting and changing. And so the leopard is the next beast mentioned in Daniel 7. Now, a leopard is not the official symbol of Germany. Okay, an eagle is the modern day symbol of Germany. However, the eagle symbol in these prophetic passages has already been used almost certainly to describe the United States. So how can one learn who the leopard is? I'm going to explain that. Give me a moment, because this is a lot. Let me make sure that the flow of this is right. Okay, we're on the leopard. Okay, so the country is Germany. Okay, so a few little changes here and there, but the country is Germany, and it has wings of a fowl. And Germany uses the eagle, so it actually all works out. Now there is another kingdom associated with it, and really you can just look at Europe in a lot of this. But let me connect the Roman Catholic Church once again. Based on what I just showed y'all, all of this is tied together. Germany has a modern tank that's called the Leopard. That was something else that stood out, okay? A leopard also has a ferociousness at war, like a leopard on the hunt, okay? And so this makes me think about the war and all of these things that's going on as well. Now, the 4 heads are the 4 Reichs that's mentioned. So German for empires of Germany. So the first Reich, which was the Holy Roman Empire, first ruled by a Frankish king. I think his name is Charlemagne, from like 800 to 1805, 06. And then you have the second Reich, which was the German Empire under Otto von Bismarck, late 1800s, 1919. Then you have the Third Reich, of course, that most of us know about, Adolf Hitler's rule, 1933 to 1945. And then the Fourth Reich seems to be the European Union, 1958 to present. An entity almost entirely held up and controlled by Germany and France. And y'all know what France got going on. Now, France is going to come back into this, tied into all of this again, which was based on Daniel 7. France is actually doing something really good in regards to their children. So this just tripped me out, how all of this stuff kept like going in circles and connecting to each other. Okay. So, and France's national symbol is a rooster. So here go the wings of the fowl prophecy again being fulfilled when these two nations come together. So I'll have the links to a lot of the resources I use for this. But how could I forget Isaiah 11:6? Y'all remember with the Mandela effect, one of the main ones that made us see that reality was a simulation that was being edited was the wolf and the lamb. You know what I'm saying? It used to be the lion and the lamb. And now the wolf also shall dwell with the lamb, and the leopard shall lie down with the kid. Are y'all hearing this? Okay, and the calf and the young lion and the fatling together, and a little child shall lead them. Just stay with me here. So, okay, so what is this particular moon called? It's called a wolf moon. What's going on with the Mandela effect? Well, we know that the history timelines are being edited, because of CERN, because of our collective consciousness, because of anchoring these new light codes on Earth. A lot of this is causing things to change, because I really believe that 2012, maybe because of meteors or something, but I really do believe that we all died, okay, and ceased to exist, and that we were moved within the Milky Way galaxy. We were repositioned to avoid the end of humanity. This is just my personal theory and belief. And so when I saw that scripture change, I knew that the wolf was always considered to be the darkness or evil or wicked. And all of a sudden it's lamb with the lamb. But guess what? That's the integration of your shadow, your darkness, what was considered wicked, with what's considered righteous and pure, which is the lamb. So it all works together, and you can read into this in many different ways. Okay. Now, the reason why I put this on here again, remember, anytime you want to understand what's happening, go to the Economist magazine. This is high magic being used, okay? And I noticed the migrants. Now, this is not recent. This particular magazine right here, if I'm not mistaken, was from 2016, okay? So it wasn't, that's what, been 4 years? And you can basically see the migrants and the immigrants, but the rope is like about to break on them. And who is standing on the part of the rope that's breaking? A child and a woman. So they were already setting it up to go to war with the divine feminine and with children. And remember, that scripture that I just read talked about the child leading. Okay, so there's an attack on our children, y'all, and we got to protect them. We got to do better. And it also mentioned freezing human organs. Y'all remember the Kanika Jenkins thing that happened, and they took that girl's organs. Y'all know all the little girls, little black girls specifically, that's been coming up missing. I have lost count at how many. If you know, just drop it below, but I know it is very, very high. And then I noticed this Economist magazine. Now, this one, if I'm not mistaken, is from 2012, and it was called A Rough Guide to Hell. I'm like, what? This aligns with everything that I was just reading to you all about the murals at the Denver airport. And it's so much stuff in here. You could literally look at this magazine cover and damn near figure out every secret agenda, every hidden plan that is being used to stop the awakening. It's all right here. And the pictures, forgive me if the pictures aren't super clear. Sometimes when I render the video, it seems like I lose some of the quality of the images. But you can always go look it up. And I'm going to put the link in the description for you to look at all of the Economist magazine throughout time. But I wanted to say, why is it talking about hell? You know, why this is from 2012 again. You know, what is it about this hell thing? Like, why even mention that? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is the connection there? And I believe the connection is earth is hell. We've been living in hell. In religion, we were taught to do this, to do that, to avoid hell, but we're living in hell. And this is why we're having to change to transform heaven to be on earth, to bring back basically the Garden of Eden, to bring back balance. So yeah, I mean, the truth is right here. Now, what really tripped me out, you got 3 people two demons and a man in the middle with X's in the front. That's the reality TV shows, the game shows, the shows that judge. And then you got the devils in front of the computers. I'm going to let y'all decode that for yourself. In the magazine, it also talk about the return of the wolf. This goes back to the wolf moon, and this goes back to one of the first Mandela effects that a lot of us felt like really hit us hard and made us believers. It talks about Africa's boomtown slum. Why is that important? Because there is a dead African woman in the Denver mural. And I probably will put that up so you can see that again, or you can go look it up. Again, this is something that would take me so long to put together, but I'm being told to get this information to y'all before the eclipse tomorrow. Now, the Holy Roman Empire and the Euro crisis is also in this exact same Economist magazine. And I was just telling y'all that when the dove got released and it got attacked and killed, that had never happened before. That was a bad omen. That was a very bad omen to anything centered around Christianity, Catholicism, and the Roman Empire and its power. Okay, and so we can see how all of these things are working together. The 3D matrix is breaking down. The old powers that be, they're losing power. And if we continue on the path that we're on, if we continue meditating, visualizing, decalcifying our pineal gland, learning to understand our love attachments, learning to understand the way we were raised, our core wounds, our inner child healing, learning to ask the questions, that we need to ask to find the truth. As we're doing all of these things, it is helping Earth. It's not just helping you, but it's helping everybody. Okay, it's so important that you continue on this path no matter how difficult it is. It was some more stuff in this picture that just really tripped me out, and but I don't want to get through off here. So yeah, whatever you see, if you notice something that stands out, just drop it below. Now, another thing that stood out with this particular Economist magazine I think this one was from 2012, okay, was that you can see like the Jewish symbol, and they call it the Star of David, but we really know it's a star. Ramphan. Anyway, yeah. But what was interesting, you see this like dragon-like creatures right over top of it. And you see something that looks like maybe Greece or Rome. Over to the right, you see the White House right up in the top right corner over there. So this was everything that is happening today has already been constructed. So because reality is a simulation, or what we perceive to be reality, they take every advantage to script reality. And this is why for so many of us, learning how to manifest the things that you desire, we have had to script our life and stop allowing our day to be scripted by energetic forces that we know not. If you do not script your day, it will be scripted for you. That's just the way it works. And why there are so many demons sitting at these computers, I'm really not sure. Nothing really jumped out to me about that, but maybe y'all could give me some insight on what that's about. But yeah, maybe that's got something to do with maybe more satanic. And when I'm saying satanic, I'm meaning the sect, not left-hand people who are on a path of self-realization and actualization, but the ones who kidnap, rape, and murder children and do snuff films, okay? So this was from December 22nd, 2012, what I've been showing you all. And, I mean, everything is just aligning. Now, I mentioned the predictive programming. I mentioned the occult conditioning. And I found some really good information that kind of explains how that works. If this is new to you, I'm going to make sure that I put that link in the description as well. But basically, it talks about the preparation of humanity for these new ages that we're coming into. And we're now in the age of Aquarius, right? And this involves psychological and physical warfare in the form of spectacular crimes and events. that filtered through the illuminized, yeah, that's it, media have a ritual, occult, and initiatory effect on the populace. And so whenever the media is producing something, you better believe that they are setting up things to go the way they want them to go. And that's just the reality of it. We don't even watch TV. We know that TV is programming, just like a lot of other things. And if we do, we watch it for studying purposes. I also find it interesting that whenever the word keywords pop up, let that be a sign to you that you're going in the right direction for whatever truth is that you're seeking. And so when I saw revelation being one of the first words, I was like, okay, this is all tied together. And it talks about the occult truth, that more of an effect can be garnered from an event if that event is made aware to the person or persons or the masses who you plan on affecting before it happens, usually at a subconscious level. The subconscious mind can actually pick up on imperceptible elements to the conscious mind that hint at future plans. In this way, it is possible to sow seeds into the subconscious mind, right? And get the intended outcome of the effect. And 9/11 is a perfect example of this. And if y'all remember, for those of you who've been following us, the Jensen Project movie had 9/11 in there, but that movie came out in 2010. So here was another synchronicity and alignment that this was important, and this was the information, the disclosure that we needed to make known to you guys. And so, yes, we're constantly being targeted. Now, you will say to yourself, okay, who's the target? Well, the target are people who are receiving light codes and downloads and energetic activations, light code activations, upgrades, going through the spiritual awakening. Maybe you're becoming more intuitive and telepathic, clairsentient, clairvoyant. Maybe you're able to dream and recall your dreams, and you're able to lucid dream and control your dreams and astral project yourself and astral travel. We are the target because we're like the rebellious ones, We're like the divergents. And it's funny, I was just mentioning that movie because my guys had me go back and watch that movie. Another interesting thing, they talked about how these different systems were used, and they mentioned Egypt, Babylon, and guess what? The Aztecs, the Indians. And they talked about the combination of numbers and archetypal words and symbols, and this is one of the many ways that they're able to kind of control the timeline of what happens on Earth as we know it. But because of the enlightenment, because the knowledge is going to and fro, because the knowledge is reaching the four corners of the earth, because the remnants are being gathered, because the fragments of our soul are coming together, because we are remembering who we once were, because we have divine assistance, we have these sacred armies, that's got our back. Like, because all that is happening, we're awakening, we're healing the heart chakra. Like, it's making it really difficult for the 3D matrix to stay in control. Now, remember I mentioned to you all that I've always felt like something disastrous happened, like an extinction level event happened in 2012. And so the reason the Mandela effect seemed like it really got going was because we were saved. And I do believe that we had some help, from the unseen realm. Now, this particular directive, I'm going to read a little bit to you, and I'll have the link to this so you can go and read the whole thing. But this is the prime directive, and it is intervention with people on primitive and spiritually evolving planets. Earth, being a good example, is not allowed. Other beings are permitted only to observe emerging civilizations. A long-standing edict prohibits the unauthorized or forcible colonization of planets. So again, there are rules, and there are benevolent and malevolent beings outside of our light spectrum. Some of them are assisting us, and some of them are very parasitic, and they feed off of our pain, our anguish, and our fear. And so the ones who are benevolent, they're not going to force their way, but we have to begin commanding our galactic help, our galactic starseed family. We have to begin talking to them, communicating with them, and asking for their help. And I do believe that they have been intervening on our behalf to ensure that the civilization, the earth, and the many resources and the beautiful evolution that is happening, I really do believe this, that they are helping us. And it was one more thing I wanted to mention about that. Which is, so as we are learning that we are star seeds, and that some of these galactic councils in the cosmos are available to assist us. The Arcturians are available for healing. A lot of the Pleiadians, they bring a lot of information. A lot of us have learned that we're from Sirius B. I find it interesting, and now that we know that, all of a sudden this rare influenza B is the one that's attacking most of the children. And so the war just is on so many different levels, okay? But we were moved. We were once in the Orion belt, and then we were back in the Milky Way on the more Scorpio part of the galaxy, if I'm not mistaken. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm just trying to recall this from memory. Yes, we were moved, and that's why the moon looks different. It's not even at the same angle as it used to be. And yes, we were definitely moved out of whatever was going on that was going to cause an extinction level event. We were moved. Sagittarius arm. Thank you. It's a Sagittarius arm. And if I'm not mistaken, the last time I checked, we're back in the Sagittarius arm portion of the Milky Way galaxy. So sometimes these Mandela effect stuff shifts back and forth. But yeah, there are beings helping us. Absolutely. What you're looking at now is based on Carl Jung. He's like this amazing psychologist, philosopher. Just really way before his time. And so these archetypes and the ego, like we're learning about this stuff, and this is helping us to be the God and goddesses that we are, to master ourselves. And again, the powers that be don't want this happening. So the attack is not just being waged biologically, but also with technology. And I found it really, really interesting and encouraging to know that France outlawed Wi-Fi in its school systems due to the serious effects that it has on children. From the transmitters and the signals, to the many different devices that we use. They have outlawed this because of the damage on children. But over here in America, we're seeing towers being put up on top of the school. On top of the school, having computers and Wi-Fi damn near in every classroom. And it's just really terrible that our children have become targets, It's been like that for a long time. But remember, I mentioned France earlier in regards to the leopard in Germany, in France having the rooster, which is the fowl that is mentioned. So with a lot of the chaos going on in France, I really hope that what comes out of this, I'm just wondering if some of the chaos that's happening, the real reason it's happening is because they're trying to preserve their children. They're trying to save their children's health from major cancers and all types of sicknesses and early death. And maybe there are plants of people being planted in France to cause these uprisings and these revolutions and stuff, chaos magic, and I don't know, it's got to be a connection there. I'm not fully sure what that connection is, but I do think it is very great that at least they are taking measures to protect their children. And so back to the Denver mural. So on the Denver mural, we see first of all, you can't help but see like Germany, Russia, United States, a lot of different countries being represented here. And I could go on forever and ever about this painting and just decoding this painting. But if you all see something that stands out, do it, because for time's sake, I'm trying to just get through this and get this information out as I have been told to do. Now, you see the mothers weeping. You see the mothers weeping and the children weeping. And remember, there's dead children all throughout these murals. I can't help but think of what went on at the border. You know, I can't help but think of all of the children that have went missing. I can't help but think of the Wi-Fi that is targeting children. I can't help but think of the biological warfare that specifically has been directed to the children. Even here in Memphis where we live, talking to the doctors, the pediatricians here, they're just like it's almost on a level of plague, you know, that is happening so much. And my daughter she took 2 weeks out of school, and we know about colloidal silver. We know all about elderberry, ginger, you know, the benefits of iris sea moss, bladderwrack. And we've been using everything that we possibly can to keep them healthy, and she's doing a lot better. But every time she would get better, she would go back to school and another classmate would be sick and she would get sick. And a lot of these children did get immunized. And if you're getting your immunizations, you know, you went and got the flu shot, like, why are you getting the flu? And not only that, but you're giving it to children. And all of that is intentional and set up as well. And so we can see here in this picture, this also represents the indigenous people and the children who lost their homes. It's all right here, you know. Now, let's jump over a little bit of the astrology. Now, Sunday, what's going on, you know, with the planetary alignment, it hadn't happened in 507 years, okay? So that's, to me, that was a little bit something that got my attention more than the day of the eclipse itself on the 10th. But eclipse energy lasts, you know, up to weeks, so it's still significant. So it'll be a lot of somatic and physical stuff, you know what I'm saying? Shit finna get really real and raw. And so before anything else, your body needs your full support during this utterly transformational passage. Transformation isn't sweetness and light, but an unraveling of the untruths, the debris, a complete uprooting before becoming. Clear your ecology, your personal space, your physical, emotional, and energetic environment. Prioritize sleep and hydration. Choose to be grounded and rooted. So these are some of the best ways for you to get through some of the astrological alignments that are taking place and the way they impact us. Just want to give you all a heads up. I didn't want to make this whole video be a decoded disclosure type of thing, you know, because it is important. Now, the January 12, 2020 Saturn-Pluto conjunction, just look at this. Crisis for climate change, big business, government, and royalty around the globe. So with Saturn meeting Pluto at 22 degrees, 45 Capricorn for a single and a dramatic pass, take a look at the Saturn-Pluto Aries alignment in the chart below. Oh, man. Basically, with all of this and with the way the shit is set up, stuff is finna really get real. And it's going to feel like a roller coaster, okay? But you can get through it. If we've been able to get through the things we experience in life, a lot of the trauma and core wounds, and we're not giving up, we're continuing, you know, the path of healing to be able to heal others and heal Earth. You know what I'm saying? Then know that you're going to get through this. But it is going to be a roller coaster ride, okay? Now, this picture is an Australian antigen. And where did I find this? On the mural at the Denver airport. I'm not kidding you. Why is this important? Because this connects back to the influenza B that is being used that is targeting children. That's why this is important. And so I went back and looked at the pictures again, and I was like, wow, okay, we got a young Jewish girl on the picture. You know, she's dead. So it's almost like they're saying, yeah, and not even the sects who have been protected up to this point, Ashkenazi Jews is what we called them when we were Hebrew Israelites. They're not going to even be protected from this. You know what I'm saying? And we know that they don't immunize their children. So it's almost like they were saying, yeah, they don't get flu shots, but guess what? They go get the flu. And then I see the black woman here, dead. So I'm like, okay. So this is the divine feminine, the primordial energy, the first mother of the earth, the black mother. This is matriarchal, this is maternal DNA. This is an attack. We're being attacked. The divine feminine is like rising up, but they don't want it to happen. And I'm sorry, I got my images mixed up. That was the Native American woman dying. Same difference. But this is the black woman, okay, that died in this mural. So we know who the target is and what's being done and how it's going to be used. Now, remember the Mayan clay tablets that was in the mural? Remember I said it felt like we were in 2012 again. This was another end of the world type thing as we know it. Okay, so, and I'm going to put the link to this so you can go and read this. But what you're looking at this is like the diamond light activation portal. And these are some of the images. It's like sacred geometry that is used according to the galactic Mayan calendar, which is based on actually lunar, the moon. And as we can see here, these images is kind of like a mandala to say, okay? And sacred geometry is very, very important. And just looking at these images actually connects inside of you and activate the divinity inside of you to continue to awaken. And it even will speed up your rate of awakening. So the inner light within us is being able to shine through the dense entrapments in the matrix to light the way for our soul to be free. Okay, free at last. We're getting free. And we went through so much transformation in 2019. So initiations and these full-on challenges of the last few years have actually propelled us to go deeper into our soul, into knowing who your authentic self is, okay? And we're ready to step into the mastery of these things, of the initiate, the holder of the Ankh, for those who have been under huge initiations in the recent years. And that is many of us. These are the remnants being gathered and we're being self-initiated. So what's important about this, according to the Mayan galactic calendar? With these initiations, we don't have to follow specific schools of thoughts and be initiated and pay these huge fees. If that's what you want to do, no judgment, go ahead. But it's not something you have to do. The age of Aquarius is very different than the age of Pisces was. And it's pretty obvious, a lot of the differences. But we are transcending the attachments to the material world. So yes, we need to utilize material things, but not with attachment or greed. Transcending the limitations of the body by no longer allowing the desire body to hold you back. So for me personally, just the drive to eat things maybe that is not healthiest for me, I've been feeling that. I've been feeling my desire body. I'm desiring these things that I used to eat back in 2012. You know what I'm saying? Some of my favorite recipes from 2012. It's crossed my mind to even fix those and eat those things. And so this is the warfare that is being waged where you have to be like, you know what? I got to discipline myself. You know what I'm saying? I have to exercise. We talk about free will, but if you aren't exercising your willpower, is your will really free? Or are you in bondage and enslaved by your desire body? Something to think about.